What's your name?
My name is Kimberly. I am under Earth.
So what season are you thinking?
So, what comes to mind is this very specific day that I remember. I just felt defeated. I was struggling with trying to accept what my life was at the time, and just accept what had happened, accept that just everything changed. There was just not, I wasn't there anymore. Whoever I was, whatever I thought life was, like none of that was there anymore. It was very late at night. I laid down and it just felt like my whole entire body, like I just laid down and I just felt like it was like an endless like pit. Like it just kept going and going and it was just pain that didn't stop. But I remember in that moment just looking up and thinking like, I don't think I could ever be fixed. Like I don't think, like at that point I had tried to talk to God. Like I prayed, I tried to like find him, and not to say that he didn't show up, but I just couldn't feel it because of all the pain that I was trying to endure or like get through. And I remember thinking like, I don't even think God can fix this. And I just kind of laid there just feeling everything, just feeling everything. Like I said, like it felt like just like a bottomless pit. Just kept going and going, and I just didn't see any light.
You said something changed. What changed?
So, well, this happened in 2019, but my boyfriend at the time, he was my best friend. Like he was my safe space. I really loved the heart that he had. Like he was just an amazing person. Like the way that he would always put everybody before him. He always made sure that everyone around him was happy, everybody around him was like taken care of. So he was just like, he made sure that like you were good always. We were in each other's lives basically like since we were very young. So he was someone that was always like in my life. He had such an amazing heart, and you know, we shared so many memories together, so many things. And in 2019, he committed suicide. And that just like that broke me, because it's just something that nobody like had like expected. It was just kind of out of nowhere. And I just, so many things just happened with that, so many things. It was just not something that I ever thought was gonna happen. And then being like the closest person to him, there was a lot of guilt. There was a lot of emotions that came with that. I blamed myself for it for a very, very long time, because I should have known. I should have done something. I should have stopped it. I should have been there for him more. And it really took a toll on me. It was maybe like about a year that it even took me to process it and accept it. I was experiencing grief and then depression and then all the stages of grief. I didn't know it at the time. I didn't understand what was happening. I just knew that the life that I had before was not that anymore. I lost like a lot of friends. It felt like I was losing my family at one point. Not because of them, but because of myself. I became very like distant, cold, like I don't know. I don't even know how to describe that time, because it was just so blurry. I was just kind of getting through day by day, just trying to survive, just trying to hold on to something. And there was really nothing to hold on to, like absolutely nothing. My family wasn't enough, just nothing. It was really, really dark at that time in my life, and there was just everything that I knew, the future that I thought I was gonna have, the plans that I had, just all gone.
What would you think he'd say about where you're at now?
Honestly, like, I think he would be really proud of me. And like, it hurts too because I wish he could have seen this version of me. Yeah, I really do think he would be proud.
What did you find to hold on to, or where did you find hope whenever you did?
I know that at one point I realized that I didn't want my family to feel the same pain that I was in. So that kind of helped me to keep going for a while, just because I was like, I was torn, I was broken. Anything that I cared about in life like went out the door. And I would think about like my sister, my mom, my dad, like my whole family. I wouldn't want them to feel the way that I did. Like they would lose any joy in life if I were to give up, if I were to like let my depression win. So that kind of kept me going for a while. And God kind of like worked very like you said, like people say, God works in mysterious ways. And I had gotten a job shortly after, well, it was about a year after this had happened, and I met this lady that she just had like a light about her. She was like so peaceful and so loving when she spoke with anybody. She could tell something was like really like wrong with me. I was broken, and she would like talk to me about God and stuff, and that kind of brought me hope in times that I really needed it, which eventually led me to be more curious about the Bible, about God. And that was when I was starting to just have hope. Like, I don't want to say that actually got me to hold on to anything, but I did just start to get curious, and kind of like that's kind of what initiated my relationship with God.
How was your view of God within the first year of that like happening, and then how has it changed since then?
It was, at first I really didn't acknowledge God because of the shock that I was in, and like everything else that I was trying to process. And I'll say maybe like about 6 months in is when I started being more angry, is when the anger kind of like came into play, and I was angry at God. I was really like frustrated. I was questioning him. I was like, why would something like this happen? Why would you let it happen? Like, why didn't you save him? Or why didn't you like help me to save him? Or, you know, anything could have changed that specific night. Like, there was so many things that could have changed, that maybe could have changed the outcome of that night. And I was so angry. I just couldn't understand like why he would let that happen. And I just didn't really care to like know more about God. There's actually a specific situation that kind of like shifted everything. I had also gotten to the point myself where I had reached like this state that I was just done. Like, I was done. And I remember that day a lot because that day was like when I had decided that I was also going to just, you know, leave. I was ready. I was not going to make it to another day. I wasn't. The pain was too much. I had like dissociated with my family. I was very numb. I was too numb to love them or to feel anything. And it's kind of hard to explain because it was like I felt everything. Like I felt all the pain, but at the same time it was just kind of like a numb feeling. So it's really hard to explain, but I was ready. I remember that I took my sister to school that morning, and I was like, I'm just gonna give her like this last memory. And I headed to the cemetery, and I was just there, and I just knew that it was like the last hours. I really didn't know how it was gonna happen. I just knew that it was. Like I was not going to make it to the next day. And I was just there, trying to just accept that, okay, like, you know. I really wasn't thinking about my family much. I just knew that they were going to hurt because of the decision. I was in my car. I was screaming. I was telling God, like, I'm sorry. And at this point, the lady that I had met at work, she kind of like helped me to like have a better understanding of God and stuff. So I knew that at that point, it's like, if God is real, then I need to like ask for forgiveness, because I knew what I was like ready to do. And I was just in my car screaming. I was telling God, like, I'm sorry, like, I'm gonna do this, like, please forgive me. I just can't anymore. And I wanted for him to like give me a sign, kind of, but at the same time I didn't care. I kind of got to a place where I was like, okay, I was calm. I was like, okay. And I don't even know how. I don't remember. But I remember that the radio came on, and it was really weird because they usually didn't have like sermons during the day. I would listen to it, and they would have like worship music on during the day. And then this day, like, it was like the middle of the day, they had a pastor with a sermon, and he was talking about making wise choices. He said if it's not your day and you go to a busy highway, it could be. So it was kind of like putting yourself in a situation where if you weren't meant to die, but you put yourself there, it could happen. So I was like thinking about that, and I was just like, maybe I'm not. Like, I felt like God was telling me, like, think about this. Like, you have to make a wise choice. And then it was kind of like grounding me. I thought about my family, and I was like, they're gonna feel what I'm feeling. I'm gonna put them in the same place that I am right now. I remember I felt like I had just surrendered, and I was like, okay, like, if today is not my day, then okay. Like, I just kind of like gave up. And I remember feeling like just a feeling of like peace. I kind of refer to it like as a hug from God. And it was just like this overwhelming feeling of peace, and I was just like, okay, like, I don't know, like, if not, then okay. Like, after that, everything kind of just like turned around, like literally immediately, like moments after that, because I was supposed to go to work and I was working overnight shifts at the time, so that was also kind of like taking a toll on me. And my boss texted me like just moments after that, and he's like, you don't have to come in today. And so I was like, well, I have the day free. And I remember that there was like a conference that I wanted to go to the next day. I remember there was this lady there that was talking about God. She was just saying like all these good things about him. She was reading scripture, and like it was beautiful. Like they really touched my heart. And then at the end of it, she said her sister had also taken her life like the year before that. And I was just like in shock, because I was like, there's no way. Like there's no way that this lady has also experienced like what I went through, and she can stand up there and talk so beautifully about God. Like that's amazing. And it just really touched me, and I like my heart sunk when I heard her say that, because it was just like, how did you get through that? How did you know, I knew that pain. I knew that pain. It was kind of that like just kind of turned everything around for me. That moment that God saved me, like he saved me. And it's hard to put into words sometimes, because it was just a moment that, you know, there was so many emotions, there was so many like, I don't know, but it's just like God saved me. That is the only thing.
What would you say to the Kimberly that was in the car screaming and like ready to leave? Like now where you're at, what would you say to her?
I would just tell her that it's okay. Like that it's okay to be broken. It's like the feelings that you have like are valid. And it was something really heavy that I had to go through, and it was okay. It was okay to be broken. I know that I suppressed a lot of the feelings that I had. I didn't talk to anybody about it. I was alone. I felt alone. Of course my family was there, but I just felt very alone, and I would just tell her that she's not alone. And I can look back today and know that God was there in every single moment that I was weak, and every single moment that I was in my room crying, in my room alone, and just desperate to not feel the way that I did. God was there in every single one of those moments. And even though it wasn't like the bright side that people tend to think that it is all the time, being with God, he's there in the dark moments too. He's there in the heaviness, in the times where you feel buried, where it feels like there's just nothing to hold on to. He is still there. He still loves us. He sees us. He knows that what we're feeling is heavy. He knows. And he still accepts us. He's still there with us.
But is there something else you would like to someone else in your position? Maybe it's someone going through it right now. Is there something you would like want them to know?
Grief is really heavy. I don't think you can explain what grief does to you. It really changes your view of life. It changes a lot of the things that you knew before. It really takes a toll on you mentally, physically, emotionally. But all of it is normal. Everybody experiences grief differently, and I know for me, I had a lot of panic attacks, a lot of anxiety attacks, and I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why I was feeling like that, what was going on, but it truly does. It has a physical effect on you, on your body, on your nervous system. So it's just hard to steer through grief, especially not ever having like a loss in your life ever before, not ever having to have had gone through that. And I would just tell anybody today going through that to be patient with yourself. Just, it's gonna take time, and it does get better. It's never going to go away. It does not go away. Obviously, we will always love our person, but do not let the darkness of them being gone dim the light that they were when they were here. So that's definitely something I had to learn. I could not let that pain overbear the good things, the good memories that I had with him and who he was.